good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday edition of Crafting and Crime Daily. There's so much going on in crime that, yeah, I'm doing it 7 days a week, but that's okay. I love doing it. So I'm going to continue the recap of the Lori Vallow Daybell trial, day 18. Yeah, including jury selection, 4 weeks down in the books. So on Friday, they had 10 witnesses and 3 911 calls. And it was all about Tammy Daybell on Friday. Tammy Daybell is Chad Daybell's deceased wife, the one he had right before Lori Vallow Daybell. Yeah. Anyway, before we get into that, though, I had a wonderful Friday. I sat in and I was a guest on DP Addiction Adventures. I'm going to put the link to that video down below. I wasn't able to put it live on my channel, which is okay. I mean, so if you want to watch, the link is down below. She is doing a series about mental health and crafting, and so we had a very nice discussion about depression, things that you can do to handle that, in addition to crafting. Crafting is a great tool. It really is. But if you want to hear the whole thing, I talk about my experience with depression, and it was just an interesting evening. DP Addiction Adventures, that's Jennifer Roberts. She is a mental health therapist. Aren't they all? No, not all therapists are mental health therapists. Just physical therapists. Okay, so I said that right. Oh my gosh. She's actually a trauma therapist. But she knows her stuff. And she's such a good friend. Like, I know I can call her up like, hey, I'm having a bad day. You know, to me, it's all about positivity. Yes. My shirt says, together we can transform. Yes, we can. I know we can. I know we can. We can. Yes, that was very off topic, wasn't it? Now, what is this thing doing here? Oh my goodness. So I'm super excited for this week. A couple of things are happening. The Princess and Queen Charlotte, you know, part of the Bridgerton series of stories, that starts this week on Netflix. Also, Hogwarts Legacy comes out on Xbox. Yay! I'm going to stream it for you. It's nothing to do with crime. It's just something I enjoy doing. So I'm going to stream it from start to whenever I give up on it, because I'm not the best video game player, but it'll be fun, because I understand it's very engaging. It's a massive online player. You know, it's an open world, and I just love that stuff. I do love that stuff. Role-playing game, RPG. So it's actually a week away. I can't wait. The other thing I've purchased is Diablo, but that's not going to be out till Diablo 4. That'll be out in June. I'll stream that as well. Okay, so we're going to get into day 18 right now. It's a whole chronology of what happened to Tammy Daybell in 2020. Was it 20? Yeah, 2020. Or was it 2019? I don't know. Okay. So the first witness was the continuation of Samantha Gawilliam, which is Tammy Daybell's sister. They were very close, just the two siblings in their family, her and her sister. And she reiterated what she had been told by Chad, you know, the morning he called her, the morning of Tammy's death, and told her basically she'd been very, very sick, coughing a lot, and when he got woke up early that morning, he found her on the floor. She had rolled out of bed and she was dead. Now, Samantha kind of wasn't buying it, because she had just seen her sister 2 weeks before that, when, at the behest of Chad, he encouraged his wife, you need to go see your family. I think you need to go. And she traveled by car. She drove herself to Utah to visit her sister and her parents overnight, and then came back the next day. Like, her husband wanted her to do it. She didn't like to travel alone, but she went anyway. So one of the things that Samantha testified to, because she said that her husband and Chad were pretty close. even at this point, at the point of Tammy's death. So she said, she had found out somehow that Chad had remarried like a month after Tammy's death. And so she said, go ask him about this woman, She tells her husband, go ask him about this woman. But we don't hear from her husband. He doesn't take the stand. So he comes back and he goes, no, they actually got married 2 weeks after after Tammy's death. And she's like, 2 weeks? What? So she finds out from Chad. She's like, you got married right after Tammy's death? She thought it was really disrespectful. And Chad said, her name was Lori Ryan, and she has no children, and we're going to be empty nesters. But, she lost her husband from a heart attack, and, we both bonded over our grief. So, okay, so this woman does her own research. She does her own little investigation. She finds out her name's not Lori Ryan. Lori Ryan was her previous husband who died of a pulmonary embolus, not a heart attack. And she was married to Charles Vallow, who died in July. And she's like, something's not right here, yeah. So she talked a little bit about Chad and Tammy. They had their own book company where she actually worked, had a full-time job, but they also owned a book company where they would publish his books and some other religious type books. And so she was well aware that, he was going on these quote unquote book tours, where from these different conferences in the LDS church where he would set up a table and he would sell his books. So one of the things she talked about was how quickly the funeral occurred after Tammy's death, that it was within a few days. Didn't give most of the relatives enough time to get there, including many of Chad's relatives, and even including their son, Chad and Tammy's son, who was doing a mission in Africa. They didn't even give him time to come home. Then Chad has her buried in Springfield, where the rest of her family is. Not where her children and her husband are. No, the rest of the family. Just kind of weird. And his excuse for that was, well, here in Idaho, it's the ground is frozen most of the time and it's winter and she'd be happier buried up there with you guys. Okay. So the next person that put her on the stand was the first person that responded to the scene on the day of the shooting, of the attempted shooting of Tammy. That was on October 9th. Now, she died a couple of weeks after October 9th, but on October 9th, she's gone grocery shopping. She comes home. They put the dispatcher on the stand later on, and they actually play the 911 call made by Tammy Daybell to the police and by another call made by her son-in-law who lived around the corner. So she said that she had just got back from grocery shopping. She was unloading the back seat of the car when someone pulled up to the house. The person got out wearing all black, wearing a ski mask. She doesn't even know if it was a male or female. She said his build was very much like her son's build. I don't know. She didn't really go the officer didn't go into much more description of that. He looked around for, what she said happened was that he came up to her with what she thought was a paintball rifle. And he aimed it at her, and when it fired, nothing happened. So I don't know if it misfired or it wasn't loaded, but he looked for, on the scene, shell casings, any paint on her or on the scene, that from a fired paintball. He didn't find any of that. So that was October 9th. Then, so they put that first dispatcher on regarding the shooter and those two calls. Then they put another dispatcher on and they played the 911 call that Chad made. Well, actually his son, Garth. How cool is that name? I love that name, Garth. Garth Brooks. I've never known anybody named Garth other than Garth Brooks, but I think it's a cool name. Anyway, so his son, Garth, calls 911, and then Chad takes the phone from him and continues talking. So take a listen, and I'll see you on the other side. Here is that phone call.
202 North, 1900 East.
What's going on?
We just found my mom. She's on the ground frozen, or she's stiff, and I don't know.
Are you in Madison County or Fremont County?
Well, I'm Chad, the husband. She's clearly dead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay, are you in Rexburg or... Because your address shows a Rexburg address, but you're in Fremont County?
Mile past.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah, she's frozen.
Okay, can I get your name?
Chad, Daybell. Oh, man. Oh.
Okay, Chad, I'm going to get somebody up to you right now, okay?
You know the corner where the blinking yellow light is? The red house?
Yes, sir. Red house on the corner.
Yes.
Blinking yellow light.
Right.
Okay. We'll get somebody out to you, okay? I'm so sorry.
Okay.
If you need anything else, you call me back, okay?
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
So, interesting, huh? Some of it's hard to make out because he's like, I don't know, fake crying. It didn't seem authentic to me, his degree of distress. Anyway, so they also put on the Rexburg, what do they call them? Coroners. She was the assistant coroner. Now, coroners are elected officials. Anybody can run to be a coroner. I could run to be a coroner. You know, you might have to take a course or two, but you don't have to be a medical examiner to be a coroner. And you respond to these unattended deaths, and I think one of these people, I think it was the actual coroner, not the assistant coroner, or one of them was an EMT by profession. So she knew a little medical stuff, but they know just enough to say, well, this is suspicious, maybe we'll get an autopsy, or no, this is a natural death, or, you know, they can figure out what the unattended thing is. Maybe they'll have to call a doctor, you know, is she sick? I mean, we saw the coroner testify in the Alex Murdaugh trial, and that guy actually decided he could take a temperature by, how did he say? It was some weird way he could take a temperature. And I'm like, no, you can't take a temperature that way. So anyway, I digress. So the coroner calls the assistant coroner, and she says, you're closer to this scene. Can you go ahead and head on over there? She was only 10 miles away, and then I'll be on my way. So the assistant coroner, she responds, and when she gets there, Garth is there. There's a police officer there. Chad is there. And she said that regarding Chad's demeanor, she said he was appropriately distressed. She felt and anguished over the death of his wife. He explained to her that his wife she's going through menopause, and she likes to have one foot hanging out of the bed. But somehow she got tangled in the sheets. He said, when I woke up, because I heard a noise, I looked over, she was tangled up in the sheets, and she was on the floor, and she was dead. So he says he immediately called his son Garth to come help him. They picked her up and put her back on the bed. No, you shouldn't do that. You're not supposed to move the body. Anyway. So so the coroner gets there and he reiterates the same story to the coroner with one little twist. And that twist was, let me find it in my notes. Oh gosh, what was the twist? Why can I not turn the page here? Okay. Oh, that she had been having seizures lately, and that the prior week she had passed out in the temple. Now, wouldn't you think that if you had been having seizures and you actually passed out in the temple or church, that you would probably tell your sister about it? Her sister didn't know anything about these. No. It's like if you guys are close, wouldn't you say, hey, you know, by the way, I've been having these seizures lately? You know, yeah, because, you know, Samantha and Tammy would talk like every single day. So then both of the coroners testified that her body was cold. There was lividity had set in. Now, lividity is when you're, it's positional. Like if you're laying on your back, the blood is going to go downward. So you're going to see darker areas on the surface that's contacted with the bed or whatever. And rigor mortis was setting in. So they arrived to a stiff, cold body, you know, at 6:30 in the morning. So maybe a couple of hours after she had died. So Chad says, no, I don't want an autopsy. One of the girls, somebody else said, no, we don't want an autopsy. No. So the coroner actually told Chad that's, you know, it's really not up to him. You know, if we deem that it's necessary, we're gonna do an autopsy. However, they concluded that no, we don't need an autopsy. This is a natural death, that she probably died from pulmonary edema, like congestion in your lungs. Remember I said you don't have to have any training for that job? Now we know later on they exhumed her body and they deemed her cause of death to be asphyxiation. Yeah. And apparently she did have some bruising on one of her arms. What else have I missed telling you? Oh, one of the other people to take the stand was an IT person from the elementary school where Tammy Daybell worked. And Chad, I got hair here, I'm trying to get rid of. I can't do two things at the same time. That's terrible, isn't it? All right. Charles Vallow had sent an email to Tammy. I don't know if you'll remember, but earlier in the testimony, there was an exchange of texts between Charles and Lori where he kept saying, explain yourself, then I'm going to send an email to Tammy and I'm going to tell her all about you and Chad. And so he did send that email. He actually did send an email to Tammy Daybell. So the question was, did Tammy Daybell ever see this email? So this IT guy said he actually found the email in the deleted section of her computer, but he also checked the section where you can block people, and the only person blocked on Tammy Daybell's computer was Charles Vallow. So the question becomes, did Chad Daybell block Charles from communicating with, did he delete that email and block Charles so she would never see it and he couldn't communicate with her? Or did she see the email, delete it, and then block Charles? Maybe she thought, this is just a nutbag, you know, what, I'm blocking him. So one of the things, there was a couple of instructors that took the stand. One was her clogging instructor, and this is not like your basic clogging. This is like river dance clogging, which is extremely physical, and she apparently was doing a really good job of this clogging. You know, she was very physically fit. She was also another person took the stand that worked out with her, and they were doing Zumba classes together. At 49 years old, this woman was pretty healthy, it sounds like. So those were the witnesses. Now, at the end of week 4, we have heard from 46 witnesses. So I gotta believe that they're gonna be winding their case up this week. But I've not heard anything that tells me beyond a reasonable doubt that Lori committed these murders. Do I believe that she participated in a conspiracy beyond a reasonable doubt? I'm going to say yes to the 2 children. I'm also going to say yes to Charles, even though that's not a charge that's being litigated in this court. That's going to be litigated in Idaho on another day. But I'm convinced yes on the children and Charles. I don't know about Tammy. I don't know. I don't, there's nothing that ties these 2 together. I don't think they ever met. They didn't know each other, except that they got married 2 weeks after she died. Okay, maybe it was a conspiracy. I mean, she's shopping for rings months ahead of this woman's death. I don't know, man. There's going to be a big debate in the jury room. I guarantee you. There's going to be a big-ass debate. All right, let's see what the crime calendar has to say today on Saturday. Let's take a look. Yes, I'm doing laundry. I apologize if you hear that washing machine going in the background, but this is my studio in here. I actually am in a converted garage, but the laundry room is right there. But yeah, I've got diamond paintings all over the paneling, and I'm in the process of going through. When I went over to Denver for my ski trip, I stopped at a couple of Goodwills, and I sourced a lot of clothing, nice clothing, like name brand stuff, really nice stuff. So I've been trying to go through that and get it listed in my eBay store. The link to my eBay store, by the way, is down in the description. All right, let's see what's got for Saturday. So a Scottish proverb says, "You'll die facing the monument." And this was in Glasgow. Condemned prisoners were hanged facing Nelson's monument on Glasgow Green. Now, this has no significance to me, really. It doesn't, but okay. All right. You'll die facing the monument. Maybe that's like a threat. Hey, you're going to die facing the monument. Who knows? Okay, guys. That's the Saturday edition of my show. Don't forget to subscribe. I don't say it often enough, and I'm going to say it now. Please consider becoming a member of the channel. Consider becoming a Patreon, or consider just doing a one-time donation. You can just hit that super thanks button and make a one-time donation that goes to help me bring you these live trial recaps. And it is very, very much appreciated. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. All right, guys, have a wonderful weekend. I will see you tomorrow. I will be live at 11 a.m. where we're just going to have some general chit-chat. Yep, see you then. Bye.